Well, good morning, everyone. I'm Jan Erickson from Stepping Aside, and welcome to Somewhat Daily Tarot and Rune for the 5th day of March, 2020. Well, let me get my notes up here on the astrology. I'm going to talk a little bit about both the ascendant and the midheaven a little bit today. The ascendant's in Taurus. The ascendant's also our rising sign. So, like I was born in October, so I'm a Libran, but my rising sign is Virgo. So the rising sign is really about how other people see you. The midheaven is how you want to be seen. So, it tends to focus on things like career and direction and social standing and all of that. Sometimes, though, the interesting paradigm that happens when we're focused into form, into these bodies, is that we don't how others see us and how we think they see us are sometimes miles apart. And so a lot of that has to do with a lack of self-awareness. And right now, we're seeing a lot of outer planet activity that's drawing us into the place of self-awareness and maybe shifting perceptions. Now, we're going to be in retrograde here for another, 4 days. Mercury will start to release now. Coming up here. It'll start to release, and then it's going to station direct again. And then, so some of that, you're only going to have a little more time to take advantage of this loosening energy as far as communication, both with others, but also with the self. Communication is also inner, not just, between you and someone else. And so communicating with higher self right now, trying to figure out what really is my direction in life, because that's what we're going to find today with the midheaven. Let's see. Juno is also in retrograde, going to be for quite a while longer. And that's about partnership. And so we're going to be loosening partnership perceptions and beliefs, beliefs surrounding how we see ourselves and how we see our partners, the type of individual we want to be with. Let's see, Moon is still third house Cancer. So we know about nurturing self and others. An opposition with Jupiter, though, we want to avoid any excess or grandiose behavior. People are not comfortable with that all of the time. I had somebody offer us something the other day. Well, it was a couple weeks ago, and and although it was a gracious offer, it seemed odd. So I don't know. You have to be kind of careful with how generous you are, I think, to people, because if there's not already something established with that, it can leave people wondering, well, why is he doing that? Or why is she doing that? What's really going on here? And so you don't want that. Anyway, Moon trine Neptune, inner focus is preferred today. Let's see, Sun's in the same place, 11th house of Pisces. We're kind of talking more today about networking with friends and talking over goals, because the semi-square with Venus is still in effect and you're not going to feel real supported. So I've been suggesting that maybe you just need to reassess what you're doing or how you're presenting what you're doing. Maybe again, we're Mercury retrograde, so maybe communication isn't at its all-time high. And so maybe you struggle expressing yourself. And if that's the case, that could be why people aren't being supportive. It's not that your idea isn't good. It's just the way you're going about expressing it, maybe. So review all of that, though, and make whatever adjustments you need to make. Let's see, conjunct Neptune there's a conjunct between Neptune and the Sun. That is going to, use your intuition to inspire you. So if you feel like you're, getting a little too expansive in your expression, well, you probably are. So then kind of pull it back. Mercury, 11th house Aquarius. Again, originality is key. Sextile Venus, harmony with others today. Let's see, Venus, 12th house Aries, we're still contemplating. 9th house Capricorn for Mars, still exploring new experiences. 9th house Capricorn for Jupiter. Today, you might want to expand your horizons a little bit, enroll in a course, maybe explore, maybe some metaphysical stuff, some spiritual stuff that maybe you haven't thought of in a while, or maybe you want to take another, journey into that realm of experience. Saturn, 10th house Capricorn, still reassessment of career. Now this is where we're going to start to get into the midheaven coming up here. Uranus still, it fluctuates between the 1st and the 12th house in Taurus. Again, sextile, the north node and trine the south node. Semi-square Neptune, guard against deception or the long played con. Yeah, we're still being conned and all of that. All you have to do is listen to the guy in the Oval Office talk about, yeah, go to work. It's fine. Go on, go to work. Why can't they just put a piece of duct tape over this guy's mouth and don't let him speak to anyone? Good Lord. The people at the CDC must be going insane right about now. Let's see. So go within and allow intuition and higher self to guide, because you're going to need to, because you cannot believe what you're being told right now. And right now, people are getting sick, and it's not good. So, we don't know where all this is going to end up. And because we don't know, an abundance of caution is preferred. So no, don't just flagrantly go wherever you want to go if you don't feel well. That's not what this is. It's not. Anyway. So Neptune, still 12th house Pisces, again, inner focus. Discover who truly supports and sustains you. And it's not just who, but what perceptions do. What's really going to keep you, warm and fuzzy? Is there going to be a bunch of division and cruelty and insanity, or is it going to be unification with other people and being able to get along? Losing my voice here already. Pluto, ninth house Capricorn. This is the one. I haven't been looking at Pluto. I've just been, jumping right over it and going to Chiron. But Pluto's an interesting planet. Or not a planet, whichever you want to see it as. It's in the ninth house of Capricorn. So Capricorn is about being careful, about being, focused and studious and organized and all of that. Our midheaven's in Capricorn right now. And so it's a focus on organization and being, structured and ambitious. And it's almost like, Taurus being the ascendant, you're more, you're determined. Sometimes you're sometimes you're stubborn and rigid, but Capricorn can be too. So you're kind of in this place now of restructuring, right? And that's going to be the influence. Well, if you're going to be exploring new horizons, conjunct the midheaven. The midheaven is also in Capricorn. Pluto is in Capricorn, so they're sharing that. So it's really emphasizing the idea of restructuring and reordering our perceptions and everything else about our lives. If we see ourselves or want to be seen in a way that others don't, we've got some work to do so that we bring that together. This was something we talked about when I studied psychology. I have a degree in psychology, and that's what we studied a lot of, is how do you integrate, one with the other. If people see you as being this, really great person, this leader, but inside you feel like this bowl of jelly every time you do it, you need to figure out that they're seeing something about you that you don't. And they're seeing the truth about you and you're not. And so you need to align with that truth, that really you're more than you realize. You're more than you're willing to let yourself know. And so today, with the conjunct with the midheaven and between midheaven and Pluto, we're reflecting on life's directions. We're going to break free from anything that doesn't support a higher perspective. We could be on the verge of shifting directions, particularly if you're older. You've already established your career. Maybe you're going to shift into a different type of career, or maybe you're just starting out and you're trying to figure out what that looks like. Just know that you've got to get these things in alignment, particularly in terms of career, because if you're not happy there, then nothing else in your life is going to be happy. If it's not fulfilling, nothing else will be either. The other thing, when you see yourself one way and people see you another, if they see you as somebody, I know someone who thinks he's just God's gift to creation, right? But we know him to be a criminal, okay? We know him to be a predator, those of us who know him. And so he's got this grandiose view of himself, and everyone else is like, oh, no, get away from me. Because you know better than to get involved with him. Because everything is self-serving. Everything is self-dealing. He will only use you, try to convince you that it's for, this is for you too. No, it isn't. It's just for him. And no, I'm not talking about the guy in the Oval Office. This is a guy I know. And so, but it kind of sounds like him, doesn't it? But that's the thing. And so right now, with this aspect of Pluto conjunct midheaven, we got to face who we are. And if it's not good, then we need to use spirit to transmute the ego and into something higher frequency oriented so that, you know, we can maybe become a little bit better than what we are, if that's the issue right now that we're having to contend with. You know, if other people see us as, you know, as a dirt bag, then, you know, maybe we need to think about that. What are we doing that's given people that impression? And if we're in denial about that, then maybe that's where some of our struggle is. We talked earlier about maybe, what was it, the Sun and Venus, about not feeling real supportive. Well, maybe it's because there's such a division between how we see ourselves and how others see ourselves. There's a level of incongruity there that's just too big. And so we need to figure that out. Okay? So let's see, one last thing. Chiron, same place, 12th house Aries. Everything is changing now. So it's about this dynamic, this exchange between, again, the lack of incongruity, if there is some, or a lot, between how we see ourselves and how others see us. And so we need to find some alignment there. And then I think that you're going to see a lot of things sort of fall away at that point. So, all right, let's go ahead and let's get back to where I've got all of my other stuff, and let's get going on the reading. That's enough of astrology. But I think you see that there's a shift in perspective, you know, that needs to take place vis-a-vis our relationships with others. And again, how, you know, others see us versus how we want them to see us. You know, we can, if we have poor values, then, you know, we can want to be seen as honest as the day is long. But if our value system, like the person I was talking about, if you know, his values are just, you're being played at every moment. And sometimes, you know, I'll play back and I just want to see how I can get him to shift his viewpoint. He'll follow whatever viewpoint is there. That's what he does. And so you think he's on your side, you think he believes what you do, and all the while he thinks you're as vile as the day is long. And that's no joke. That's how bad it is. That's how deceptive that guy is. So it's just very difficult. It's difficult to even be around him because you want to know, what's he plotting, you know, what's he planning? It's like, geez, just leave me out of it, you know? That's what you just want to say. So anyway, let's go ahead and take our first three cards and see what they have to say. If this is your first time here, welcome. If it's not, if you come back, thank you. Thank you so much. And anyway, my process here for this reading is I take the 13th card each time for randomness sake. And we're going to begin with my favorite queen, the Queen of Swords. The King of Swords we had yesterday, and if you remember, if you were here, he doesn't hold his, look here, just real quick before I do the next card. You see how the sword is perfectly aligned with spirit? Yeah, the king, not so much. It's kind of angled. So it's like, I'm going to tell you the truth, you know, with your fingers crossed behind your back. I'm going to tell you the truth, my fingers crossed behind my back. See, that's what that's all about. Yeah, I'm going to tell you something, but, you know, it's going to be maybe a derivation on the truth. That's that king. So he needs the queen to keep him aligned and going on the straight and narrow. The Queen of Swords doesn't suffer fools gladly, as they say. She's the witch. She's the well, the Queen of Wands would be the empath, but Queen of Swords would be intuitive. So let's do the next card. Queen of Cups. So we have some feminine. What is it? Goddess Day tomorrow, or Day of the Goddess tomorrow, or something. It came up on my. I have a pagan calendar on my calendar, and so I get all these different feasts of this and feasts of that, and I love when the goddesses come up, because, you know, you can really bring in, the divine feminine into your day when you start thinking along those lines. But it's looking like the Queen holds the power today. Oh, well, this is going to be interesting. Who's she going to align with? Oh, this is an Elizabeth reading. Okay, so I will just tell you, I am an Elizabeth Warren supporter. I love that woman. I have loved Elizabeth Warren since before she came into politics. I loved her when she was talking about the Consumer Financial Protection Bureau. I thought she was just amazing. I watched her on Bill Maher one night where she was the interview, and he loves her so much. He just basically leaned his head down and said, "Will you hold me?" It was just the most funniest thing I've ever seen. And I'm thinking, yeah, would you hold me too? Because you're saying everything that I believe, and this is so amazing. Where have you been? So anyway, it's sad. So I hope she's somebody's vice president. That's what I hope. I think she's just the most amazing woman, the most amazing person. She has so much energy and so much vitality, and she wants so much for everything to be so much better for us all. And there's a way to do it. So I think that she's going to have to balance her head and her heart today, and the Queen's going to have to make a decision and come into a balanced energy exchange with somebody. And so we'll see who it ends up being. I trust her to do the right thing, and I trust her to have the vision for our future. And because I supported her, of course I do. And so I know that whatever she decides will be the right thing. So in the vein of that, we will take a look at the Queen of Swords. The clouds are white, as opposed to the sketchy brown clouds of the King of Swords. Her sword is directly to spirit. You see a bird flying above. She's raising her head in supplication and greeting to whomever she's meeting. Now she has a similar cape, look at that, to the Queen of Cups. You see, she's right down at the water's edge. It's like she merges with the water, and her cape it's almost like her cape merges into the stones below. Look at that. You see the cherubs on her throne, and she's holding a beautiful chalice. And she's basically reflective. Now, that's going to be a passive influence, and this is going to be an active influence or principle, passive principle or influence. This is an active principle. You see butterflies there. You see a butterfly on her throne. We can't see the whole thing, though, can we? Very similar. Let me look at the crowns. Very similar crowns. You see flowers on hers, though. You see stars on this Queen's crown. But you see basically the same type of robe that she's wearing, or cloak or cape. But here she's engaging with her hand out. It's the active principle. She's engaging with others, whereas this Queen is gazing down into the cup that she's holding in her hand, the chalice. And so she's more reflective. She's taking a more inner focus. So here we need to come into balance with head and heart, with intellect and emotion. And with the 4, we're going to come into balanced energy exchange with others. We see the demarcation line here showing, first we did this, and then we were able to do that. We were able to come into shared purpose with one another. But how I interpret each of the 2 poles here, or staffs here, is each side is coming into its own alignment between spirit and ego, to where we can think of it in terms of masculine and feminine resonance. We can think of it that way: projective, receptive, active, passive, however you want to look at that dichotomy. We're bringing it into balance so that we can then go into balanced energy exchange with others. We see the cross garlands up above, reminiscent of Gebo, the 7th rune of the Elder Futhark. It looks like an X, and so that's balanced energy exchange. It's the light of spirit in all directions, basically. So after we do that, see, then we can come into balanced energy exchange together in terms of a marriage or a partnership. Again, Juno's in retrograde, redefining partnerships right now, how we do that, how we see our partners, how we see ourselves in that whole experience. They're holding 3 bouquets instead of 4, though, aren't they? That's mind, body, spirit alignment. You see on the arched bridgeway, if you could see the 3rd opening on it, the 3rd archway on the arched bridge, that's again going forward into their new life in balance. Let's do a rune. I think that especially in terms of when you're trying to bring the whole, well, just using the example of how others see us versus how we see ourselves or want to be seen, we have to bring that into balance. You can talk, it's like dealing with superficiality. You can chatter all you want to, you can talk a good game, but if there's no substance under it, you see what I'm saying? So we wrestle with those kinds of issues all the time. And the more aligned we are, the less of those issues there are to deal with. So if we don't allow ego to inform too much, if we stay in a higher self, modality, because that's what we are. We are our spirit continually focusing into these bodies to create this experience that we've had. And now we can give it over to ego, which is what we typically do. But when we do that, then things get real dicey. We don't align with people. We don't see people as the other side of self. We see them as the other or as the enemy. It's an us versus them experience. And again, instead of unification and harmony, we're in a standoff with people. And sometimes we're at a standoff within. So embrace Laguz. 21st rune of the Elder Futhark, a 3 energy. Laguz is a useful rune in magic, in trance work. It's a water element rune. It's about flow. You can think of it as the flow of spirit coming into form. What I use it for, though, as an empath, I use it to dissolve energetic channels and draw back my energy to me. Anytime you talk to somebody, think about something, because everything begins in thought. Just because we speak it, it began in thought. All we're doing is speaking the thoughts. So everything is thought-based. This whole creation is thought-based. Source decided to express itself into form, created everything, all of us. We're just expressions of that focus to go and, do something with it, right? To expand the knowledge, so to speak, the knowledge base, the Akashic record of that experience of Source expressing itself into form, because I believe that, Source or God is all that is, the Creator is all that is. So if the Creator is all that is, then everything is the Creator. Perhaps in lesser form, but it's still, you still are that soul, that spirit, that chunk of the Creator focusing into form. So you have that much power. You have that much power to transmute ego into spirit. I heard somebody say the other day how you have to do that is you have to go and be the ego in order to do it. Well, maybe for a split second if you want to, but do you need to shoot somebody to know that that's wrong? No, you don't. Look, we possess enough intellectual awareness that we know when behavior that's difficult is not something we should be doing. We know that. You don't have to immerse yourself in, ridiculous behavior to know that you shouldn't be doing it. So I don't believe that. I believe that you have to transmute from the standpoint of spirit. And how you do that is you don't give the ego any further attention. When reaction starts to grab you, you say no, and you take a dispassionate view, take the observer role that the soul takes, and observe from there. Now, when we experience connections with others, they're all thought-based. And so you can visualize the connections as existing, and you can, and sometimes people call it cutting cords. I don't like that expression though. I like the idea of dissolving channels, because if it's your spouse, you need the channel to be there, right? But maybe you just need it to dissolve for a minute, because anyway, so you can chant laguz either silently or quietly or whatever. And you can visualize it as a hook drawing your, excuse me, energy back to you and your thought patterns back to you. So you can then coalesce them into spirit and just take a spirit focus. Spirit focus is non-judgmental. Spirit focus is observational. You're looking at things with from the standpoint of curiosity and love, but not judgment, right? Because then you get too stuck in that focus, and then you have to go and anyway. There's lots of ways to do it, but again, you can just get quiet, find your still point, and then visualize the channels as existing, and then watch them just disappear, draw them back to you, and begin again. So that's just something you can do with laguz. But let's go ahead. But basically what it's saying is we need to understand the flow of things, especially if we're looking in terms of monumental shifts. We're in a 22 year. And so what we have is a time of the master builder, the cosmic builder. And I keep saying master builder. I don't know why I keep saying that's the cosmic builder. It's a master number. So anyway, we're in this time of profound change, and it's soul manifested change. And so, that sort of tells you what direction you need to go. We're not going to circle around the drain anymore. We need to elevate, and it's the time of ascension. And so we need to do that and elevate our whole mindset, if you will. Let's see. Oh, Fortuna Major. Okay. Well, where's my little deal there? My pen. So Fortuna Major is a really positive card. You've got Fortuna Major and Fortuna Minor. We have gain and fortune, and lesser gain and lesser fortune. So both of them do well, but I view the Fortuna Minor as maybe progress along the way, and Fortuna Major as a successful outcome. So if you've been expecting something today to resolve in your favor, it may well do that. But the other thing too that we're talking about, when we talk about Fortuna Major and a larger gain here, what do we gain when we align how others see us versus how we want to be seen? Let's take the negative side, because it's easier, I think, to understand when people see us as somebody that is not such a good person, whatever that is. And the only way to fix that is to let go of that behavior. Because very likely if they see us that way, then we're doing something that we may not be aware of, or we might not be aware of the ramifications of it. We might know we're doing it, but we just might not see it as a problem. We might think, oh, well, what's wrong with them? Well, take a step back, because the problem may be in fact with you, and because you don't understand your impact on other people. So maybe the greatest Fortuna Major that we can achieve today is that level of understanding. So it may not be something tangible that you're waiting on. It could simply be that, you've made some realizations a little today that kind of get you in a better place, where you understand that it's really not them, it really is you. So, maybe that's what's going on today. So maybe there's a gain in self-awareness today. Maybe not so much the tangible, but if this is, taking a career focus, like what, if we're looking at Capricorn in as the midheaven, lots of planets are in Capricorn right now, then there could be some kind of awareness on the career front that moves something in a better direction for you today, in the direction of Fortuna Major. So again, self-awareness is key. And even if that's all you gain today, that's pretty much everything. So, because from there, everything else springs, doesn't it? From how you see yourself. Anyway, let's see, did I do everything? I think I did. Okay, well, let's see. The correspondences will go up here shortly. And I will do a little video and post alert to let everybody know when everything's up. This is going to get published both on YouTube and on Stepping Aside. I've kind of been directing people to go there to watch it, but ultimately you're watching it on YouTube. So either way, I don't care where you watch it, just as long as you come back. So anyway, thank you so much. Click subscribe if you haven't done that. I'd love you to do that. And come back. And this time it won't be till Monday, though, because this is Thursday. I just do this Monday through Thursday, and then I write on the weekends and all of that. Usually there's a lot to do there, so on the blog. And so plus I just published one book, Shifting Perception, and then I republished my first book as a second edition. It's been revised and all of that, Confessions of a Back Porch Herbalist. But I have one that's a novel that is, geez, I don't know if it's halfway done. It might be. I don't know. I'm not sure. If it's not, then it's almost halfway done. So I'm not sure where I'm at. I've crossed into another thing, and so I'm anyway. I won't tell you any more than that. I don't ever really talk about the stuff I'm writing. Then there's another one that's that one's going to take some time. That one's probably going to be pretty emotional, and so I talk about some really difficult things, and I'm not sure how I'm going to do it. I don't know if I'm going to do it in the first person, so that it's autobiographical, or if I'm going to maybe do it in a way that's maybe a little easier to read. So I don't know. I might make it into like a novel, but that's, life-based, I guess. I don't know. Anyway, so I'm doing that, and plus I'm also out in the hoop house where my strawberries are, and we're taking all of them out. I've got 2-foot high raised beds, and I have to. There's like 1, 2, 3, 4. There's 5 of them, but only one of them is like half the size of the others. They're all really long, and so my husband and I are out there now, and we're taking the all of it out, and we're reconditioning, getting all the grass that's grown up into it, and getting all that out of there. We're reconditioning the soil, and we're going to put the strawberries back in. I'm cleaning them all up. And so we got half of a bed done yesterday, so I don't know how long this is going to take us. I also cleaned out the raspberry patch. I got all the dead canes out of that, so that's done at least. I've done a little bit of work in the herb garden. I have, my husband started the tomatoes and the peppers, and they've popped. He does them in little plastic baggies on wet paper towels, and so they all did their thing, and so he's got them planted now. So I don't know, we'll see. They'll come up, I'm sure, but I have to get my other stuff started too, and I had jury duty last week and this week, and I haven't had to go, and so they say that court doesn't happen on Fridays unless you happen to go into court on Thursday, and I didn't get called in today, so I doubt I'm going to have to get called in tomorrow. So that'll be great. I didn't actually have to go. So, but as far as the coronavirus goes, I guess we just do the best we can. I don't know why the guy in the Oval Office had to leave us all so unsafe. Why he had to fire and disband the pandemic crew that we had, I don't know. Obama put into place all these different monitors in different countries, and he took away most of them. And the reason that they were there was to get out ahead of this global pandemic, because we travel everywhere all the time, because that's just part of our lifestyle. It's too easy for things to start in one country and, as you've seen, move everywhere else. And because we have the fools in the administration that we have, they're making it impossible. They don't want us to know anything unless it comes from him or the vice president. Otherwise, the people that actually know what's going on, well, they're not really they're not being, they're being countermanded, basically. They say one thing, and these two idiots say something completely the opposite. And I think that for the sake of the country, we can't listen to them. We've got to listen to the scientists. We've got to listen to the medical people. You know, the West Coast, both all three states here, none of us are going to listen to it. We're going to hunker down and listen to our governors and listen to the medical people here. And, you know, because let's face it, California is going to get hit hard. Washington's getting hit hard. It's starting here in Oregon. We don't know how long this has been active, likely far longer than what anybody's bothered to tell us. And so I think that for the time being, you know, you take the kind of precautions you would always take with something like this, even though we don't yet know, because now there's another strain. It's mutated, I guess, and it's more virulent, I guess. So we don't know what it's going to look like. And so to not take precautions seems terribly short-sighted. To say, oh, I don't believe it, it's the Democrats' hoax. No, it isn't. It isn't. So I hope all of you who are listening understand this and understand that this is a serious situation. There's only going to be so much we can do because there's no vaccine, and even vaccines are only so effective. We know that because the flu shot's only so effective for the strains that it's for. There could be a new strain and we're not protected. But if you get it, you know, I don't know. We all have to make our minds up about what we feel about that sort of thing. But if you're not going to get the vaccines, then, you know, maybe hunker down a little more. And if you're not well, don't go around people because you don't want to spread it, right? I mean, it's just common sense things. Wash your hands, keep them away from your face. You know, hardest thing to do, right? But we have to, you know, get into that mode now for the foreseeable future because we don't know how long this is going to last. And I guess that's the point. So why, see, I touched my face. Why would you not try to do everything you can to secure your own type of protection? You know, so by washing your hands, by coughing into your elbow, by not going around a bunch of sick people, staying out of, you know, areas that are real congested with a lot of people. So if you have to go to the grocery store, go later or go super early, you know, when there's not so many people there. Give yourself a wide berth from people. Don't get up close to people. Common sense things, if we know it's transferred via droplets and droplets getting on surfaces, keep your hands off of things. It's just basic common sense things that we can do. Don't go to work. I don't know what's going to happen here, you know, how that's going to impact people's lives. But something's going to have to give, and employers are going to have to do something here so that they still have people, right? I mean, I don't know what you do here. We're going to have to, what was it? They're going to do it again. Iceland, was it Iceland? They've got the new prime minister or something, has just said that people will still get paid. If they have to go be quarantined, they're still going to get paid. You're not going to lose any income over this. So there's lots of things that we can do to try to navigate through something we really don't know much about. And so for any president to come out and say, oh yeah, go to work anyway, you'll be fine, it's fine, people go to work all the time sick, it's all right, it's all good. Again, put some duct tape over this guy's mouth and don't let him speak. That's ridiculous. So anyhow, just stay safe this weekend, folks, and I'll see you on Monday. And get out in the yard, work out there, get some cleanup going. If you can plant things now, great. We can't. We're 3,000 feet above sea level, so there's no way. But we're going to start moving things out into the greenhouses and things like that here this month. And next month, things should really be thriving out there, and but just not outside yet. So anyway, well, coal plants are doing okay. I have some broccoli that's growing from last year, so I don't take them out. I just leave them there and hope more comes out. So And it is. So I'll have fresh broccoli today. Anyway. Again, thanks so much for stopping by. Check out the blog. Lots of things are going to go up this weekend. The correspondences will go up here in a little bit. And for today, and that astrological information, that I always do that for noon, so it's a little bit later. So the moon will change a little bit between now and then. At least the house, probably not the sign. But I don't know. This could be a split energy day today. I don't know where we transition. I don't remember. But in any event, come back Monday. I'll try not to touch my face, and don't you either. And be good to yourself, be good to one another, and blessed be.